Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farm, the podcast. I'm your host, Jace Young, and today's topic of discussion is this: your stories drive your reality. So this past week, we had a live event with some of our members inside of Legacy Farmer. Usually, 2 to 3 times a year, we all get together inside in Kansas City and have just a live 2-day event. And we go there and we go over some training and some things like that. But really, it's a place for people to come and connect and talk about the difficult problems and challenges that they're dealing with that they don't have anybody else in their community that they can really talk about. And there's just a difference, guys. So we have our online community in Legacy Farmer, which obviously you probably know about. But we also, once we added in the in-person events there too, everything really changed there as far as the connection and just the energy that a person feels there when they're inside of that room. It's very meaningful. It's very powerful. Anyway, so in the last event here that took place over the last weekend, one common thing that really started to come up is we had this member and there was just some underlying issues there. And I started to really kind of dig with this member, and it was a little awkward in the beginning, and it always is, not for me, but just for the member, because when you know that there's things that they're saying and you know that there's something deeper, right? The things that they're saying are just surface level, but you know there's deeper issues, deeper challenges there that we need to dig out. It can be uncomfortable for people, but the thing that my training over the past 7-8 years of doing this is I've just learned to really get comfortable in situations where most people are uncomfortable, right? Talking about certain things and stuff like that. And the thing is, when you can maintain your composure in uncomfortable situations, you control the room, is what I'm saying, right? So that's one thing I talk about with our customers and really controlling the room, like with their banker, for example. If we have some customers where the bank has tried to basically put their thumb on them for a long time and be above them. Once our customers know their numbers and they know the back end of how the bank works and everything that the banker is going to say and how he's making decisions, and then they're able to sit there and just watch him squirm or her squirm because they're being exposed and things like that. The person that can sit in discomfort the longest is going to own that conversation and own that room. So with this whole thing that we were doing at the event here, yeah, we do that, right? We're going to push harder to pull things out of people. And one thing that came out of this specific member that I'm talking about is a specific story that was ultimately not giving her the results that she wants. Now, I'm not going to go into details on the story and stuff like that. It was high level. It was around body image, right? And not feeling confident in oneself in order to be able to go out and do things. Now, the one framework and stuff that we always talk about in Legacy Farmer is Core 4. So in Core 4, we have body, being, balance, and business. Now, the thing is everybody's here because we want to build a big business. But most of the time, about 90% of the time, we think we have business problems, but the reality is it's actually in one of the other areas. It could be a body problem, right? In your fitness and nutrition, how that is impacting you on a daily basis, how it's impacting your confidence, how it's impacting your ability to have mental clarity, how it's impacting how you feel and how you're able to move throughout the day. And then we have being, which is the stories that you tell, right? But also too, your connection to God and the higher purpose in your life. And then balance is your really important relationships in your life with your spouse and like your kids and stuff like that. Now, the thing is though, again, people want to come in and because they have business problems. I'm not saying they don't, but the real problems, right? The things that once you solve all the business problems that still exist are the real problems that typically take place inside of body, being, and balance. Now, this individual, we learned through going through this kind of delicate conversation was that there was a 35-year-old story that was ultimately holding her hostage because it was a negative story that was impacting not only her being, right? Because being is the stories that you're running through your head up here, but that was carrying over into her body because that's what the story was about and how she felt about herself, right? And again, I'm not just pointing out women here. The specific example is every guy in that room dealt with the same thing. Everybody raised their hand, like dealing with the exact same things here and challenges. So the thing is, and this is what we have to remember, guys, you can wish and pray for all these great things in your life. You can want to build the biggest business ever. You can want to have the most impact ever and things like that. But if you are not willing to change the story and the internal dialogue that is running through your mind, the 6 inches in between your ears, arguably the most important part of any business, right? Or anything in your life. If you are not controlling the story there, it doesn't matter what you want to accomplish, you won't accomplish it, right? So once we discovered what this story was, and then we talked about how it was negatively impacting her, not only in body and being, but in balance and business as well, because this is what we call the pain web here. where a problem in one area will bleed into another area. So for example, if you're having terrible business problems, you tell me how motivated you are to go work out or take care of your body. Or would you rather just go home, drink a few beers, eat some shitty food, and go to bed feeling like crap? You wake up feeling like crap, and then you do it all over again, right? These are the things, that's what I'm talking about, the pain web. These things are connected. Now, with this specific individual though, once we started to really connect those dots here and understand that, hey, one of the reasons we can't take the business where we want to go, or we're not motivated to do the things that we know we need to do, whether that's changing, adapting, expanding a certain part of the business, starting a new source of income, whatever that is, those things are all tied back to that story that she had around her body. And that is a 35-year-old story. I'm going to say that again. It was a 35-year-old story. So when I say your stories become your reality, I mean it. Like, I truly, truly mean that. And I experienced the same thing in 2016 when I left the bank, and really like 2014 when I first got the idea of leaving the bank, because I went through a 2-year period there of battling the internal dialogue and what was going on in my head to finally believe that I was the guy that could leave the banking industry, leave what everybody in my small town ever did, and go out and jump into the unknown in this world of uncertainty and try to become an entrepreneur and build a business that impacts people. Right? It took a long time for me to work through those stories there and create new ones that were going to serve me. Okay. So this is where, in that conversation in that room, we started really getting into the internal work that needs to happen in order to get us to where we want to go. And in order for her to achieve the results that she wants, we have to change and get rid of that 35-year-old story. Now, the question for you is how long do you think that's going to take? You have some of these habits that you've had inside of your life for decades, some of you, and even just 5 years is obviously still a long time. So when it comes to changing the story, we had to design a new story for her to start telling herself inside of that room. And the thing is, though, is that people can go, on in life, and, they can go to these events and create a new, powerful new story and stuff like that. And they can say it out loud at the event. But the thing is, though, is if you are not programming your brain, which is just like a computer, you're not programming your computer on a daily basis to believe in certain things and to act a certain way, then it's not going to happen. So one of the things that I've always focused on since 2016, when I really started jumping into the world of entrepreneurship, things were not going well. I had to rely on my faith. I had to build myself up to believe that I could get through this and I could become who I wanted to become. I had to create a new story for myself. And I wasn't just reviewing this story when I felt like it. I was reviewing this story on a daily basis, meaning I was writing it down 5 to 10 times per day. So think about how many hundreds of times I wrote down that story in a given year. The thing is, though, is that, guys, this may sound like it's way out there for you if you've never done any internal work or never tried to really level up your internal awareness and things like that. This is going to sound weird to you. Totally get that. And I'm totally fine with it. It did to me in the beginning as well. Everything changed in my life when I started doing that, because your belief, as you're programming your internal system, starts to change over time, but you're also training yourself subconsciously to start taking actions and looking for these things in your life that you are really exposing and sharing in that story. Okay, guys, at the end of the day, if you are looking at your life and you are not getting the results that you want in any area of the core four, the story that you are telling yourself in that area is not serving you. The number one way to fix the problem is to change the story. And don't just do it one time, stick with it for the next year and literally write it down 5 to 10 times per day. Literally, it'll only take you a minute or two to do that. Really not that much time at all, but I get it though. But to most people, if this is new, it seems like, oh, it's a waste of time. No, it's not. I'm living proof that it's not. And I still do that to this day. There's 3 different statements that I write down inside of my journal on a daily basis around certain areas in my life that I want to get better. Stories in certain areas around core 4 that will serve me in helping me accomplish my goals, financial, but more my personal goals, right? Who do I want to become? And right now, if you're looking at your life and you're looking at the results that you're currently getting and you do not like who you have become up to this point, you need to change your story in order to create and start creating that new life that you want for yourself and your family and ultimately your legacy. Now, guys, this isn't a joke. It works and it will work if you just trust the process, you continue going forward. So the first action items for you out of this podcast are figure out, okay, what is the story that I'm telling myself around my business, for example, that's not serving me? Right? And then you need to create the new story. And then the real work starts in trying to reprogram your mindset and how you think about yourself and the story that is running through your mind on a daily basis. So my friends, hope you found this episode valuable. More importantly, I hope you take action because of it, and we will catch you on the next one.